What is the message? Mary Torno.
How many of you received a coupon in the mail, walked up to the counter with your product, thinking you'd get $10 off, and a clerk reminds you the coupon doesn't apply to this? Raise your hand. How many of you have been told, I love you, and shortly thereafter you either received the physical slap or the words that took care of your self-esteem? You don't need to raise your hand for that. How many of you know the Declaration of Independence? Or a few words of it. All men are created equal. And then you read the newspaper. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. What was the message? What was the message in the ad that you read? Oh, my fellow listeners, had you read the fine print, there are a few exclusions to that $10 coupon. That's not so bad when it's just $10. You say, I can live with that message. I can substitute for another product. However, if you bought an insurance policy that said all repairs in your car, at least you thought you saw the word all, are paid for if you take your car in. You take your car in, you go up to the counter and they say, ma'am, you owe $1,875. Wow. And you go, I pay insurance. Yes, ma'am, but there's this fine print. Wasn't read. Yes, it's important to read the fine print. Even on the vitamins that you take. You say, well, this helps this part of my body. And then you read, keep out of the reach of children. Does your refrigerator say, keep out of the reach of children? I learned from an international doctor that that means there's a filler in there. It's not good for the child and it's not good for you. And another thing I learned in training is that if it says natural, our government says 5% natural and you can call this product natural. What has been the message in all those cases? We need to read the fine print and have knowledge. When I talked about the second message about words or physical abuse, imagine you're a teacher in a classroom and you walk up to the child and you see some bruises on the child. You have one requirement. That is to go to the superintendent or the principal and report that. The superintendent calls the parents in with the child. There is dialogue that takes place. And then finally, the superintendent gets the parent to admit those bruises are from my behavior. And the child sits there crying, but Mom and Dad, you told me you love me. Was the message they loved him? Yes, it was. What have we learned from that message? There's also the part about I love you as a spouse. Then comes dinner time, and the words flow out. Not exactly dialogue. More like abusive words. You do this wrong. You do this wrong. And then that night, they try to tell you they love you. These are incidences that most of us have occurred in our life. And then we don't know what to do with that message. The most stunning message, though, to me was when I read the Declaration of Independence. And it says, right there, what you will receive from me in your email. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And when I was down south in Arkansas, Mississippi, as late as the 1980s, we had a certain culture of our people that could not drink water from this fountain. I go, all men are created equal. And I also saw the newspaper headlines that just stunned me. And perhaps was the beginning of why I needed to bring the message. What is the message? All men are created equal. And in the newspaper, well, let me go back to a time. Way back, and according to all the history I could research, whether it's this country or people I talked to in another country, you will hear that a man gave another man 2 tablets of stone. And whether I go to Washington, D.C., or I go to Jackson, or I go to Little Rock, it says that thou shalt not kill. And yet the newspaper headlines read, a 7-month-old was aborted, and the brains were sucked out and used for research to make somebody feel better. All men are created equal. And it reminded me of when I lived next to a reservation. And those children could only go to this school. They couldn't go to this school. United States of America. All men are created equal. As I thought about the content of this speech, I thought, I can see all your body language. You aren't dialoguing with me, or are you? All of your body language tells me there's not a smile on the face in the room this time. What is Mary Torno trying to say to you? What is the message I'm trying to leave with you? Is it because I'm ready to retire, or I did retire 3 or 4 times, and now I have all this knowledge and I don't know what to do with it? Or is it because I want to get on a rampage and have a bunch of enemies? No. I want you to have some fun in life. I really do. I want you to be able to take that coupon out to that clerk that's checking you out. Say, here's my product. Here's my $10 coupon. She checks you out because you read the fine print. It qualifies. And now you can say, have a great day. I saved you $10. And you go out the door and say, good, now I can go have a box of strawberries. And when you pay that insurance and you take your car in, you've read the fine print. And you know that $500 worth of that repair has been covered by this insurance. Sounds pretty good to me. And the part about your children or your spouse, there are workshops all over the place. Just take the time to read. On anger management, how to be a good parent, go to that library. Find that book on how to be a great parent. Find the book that tells you to be a better person in your community. They're all around us, those books are. And now we have that new thing called Kindle. I knew I'd remember that word. It's that simple. As far as the part about all men are created equal, I'm so glad that people can drink all at the same water fountain. When I came down there in 2009, there were no more of those signs. And I'm so glad that I give gifts to the City Life Center over in Minneapolis. And I've heard about all kinds of things that are happening out there that will make all men created equal. And when those mothers get up at the annual meeting and said, this baby is now mine, because City Life Center brought it into the world. And look what it might do. It might solve my cure for cancer. And maybe we'll learn to treat each other like all men are created equal. Fellow Toastmasters, I hope What is the Message can start out so simple as a coupon and end having a better United States of America where all men are created equal. Mr. Toastmaster.